This is probably my favorite place in Newfoundland that I've ever seen so far, and I was not expecting that to happen at all. I don't know what day of the week it is half the time without checking my phone, but I remember certain things from when I was 10, 11 years old that are just etched into my brain, and for whatever reason they're solid. I'll never forget them. In this particular memory, I was probably grade 5 or grade 6, and a new kid came to my elementary school. His name was Blair Med. Blair, I haven't seen you in 25 years or more. You know, we weren't best buddies or anything, but you're always a nice guy. So if you're watching this, what are you at? Blair came to our school from the town of Harbour Breton. I didn't know anything about the place, didn't really know where it was, but I remember he was from that town. So I was a curious kid. I found a map of Newfoundland and sussed out where Harbour Breton was. It always just looked so far away, so hard to get to. Well, about 2 weeks ago, I finally made my first trip to the town, and man, oh man. I finally just got my breath. I drove down to Harbour Breton today for the first time in my life, not really knowing what to expect at all. And like, I've said this kind of about a few other places, but I have no problem saying it again. I am completely blown away. Completely, my breath has been taken. I'm in shock and whatever expression you want to use. I had no idea that Harbour Breton was like this. So I'm here for a couple of days. I'm going to get around and explore the whole area as well, not just the town of Harbour Breton. But unfortunately for me, I didn't take more time to do this because I set myself up in Harbour Breton as a home base. And I wanted to do all that exploring, but I really wish I gave myself a couple more days to just stay in the town. It's so much bigger than I realized. I was not ready for this. This is probably my favorite place in Newfoundland that I've ever seen so far, and I was not expecting that to happen at all. I recently posted a couple of videos, one about the town of Galtis, one about the town of Belorme. If you watch those videos, you can see that I'm, walking through the towns or standing up in certain places, talking about very specific things. And that was kind of by design. These are towns that are in the vicinity of Harbour Breton, not right next door to the town, like you have to travel a little bit, but they're very close. But my vision of this trip was to travel to these two towns in particular with some things to talk about, and I wanted to actually talk about them while I was in the towns. Harbour Breton, it's the biggest town in the area, so it happened to be where I could find accommodations in the month of March. There's the Galtis Inn in the town of Galtis, but that's only seasonally operating. Belorme's a very small town. There's about 350 people live there. Very small town. There was no accommodations available for the timing of this trip. Harbour Breton, there's maybe like 1,600 people live there. So I found a couple of options to pick for accommodations. Harbour Breton for me was a place that I was interested in, but it was mainly a home base for this trip where I was going to work my way around the whole Canaga Peninsula, get up around the Bay d'Esprit towns of St. Albans, Con River, places like that. But as I've already mentioned, I really wish I had more time in the town of Harbour Breton because it was so amazing to me. I'm going to go back for sure as soon as I can. Maybe I'll wait until summer because I was there at late winter and it was amazing, but I'd like to see another side of it. And from all reports from anybody that I talk to about the town, they say like, wow, you got to come back in the summertime because it's fully alive. And my buddy Hutch told me that he went to a dart night at the Legion, which of course Hutch would do that, but he said it was one of the funnest things he's ever done. So that doesn't matter, I guess, which season you're there, but I'm definitely going to go back in the summer to experience another side of the place. Now with that said, there was a lot open, there was a lot to do in late winter, right? I visited Twillingate on the same road trip, and Twillingate is a very well-known tourist destination, but what I discovered in Twillingate was that the town is basically only a tourist destination. And I'm not knocking Twillingate, anybody watching from Twillingate. I don't mean that in a bad way, but I was looking for a place to eat and there was nothing open. All right, now guys, I don't know what's going on. I'm in Twillingate and I stopped at RJ restaurant where I went in the summer and had a fish and chips and it was delicious. Closed for the season. I'm standing up outside of Annie's, which we wanted to try, but we chose RJ restaurant instead for whatever reason. They're closed, it looks like, for the season. I'm just like genuinely asking, if you are from Twillingate or if you spend time in Twillingate and you come in the winter, I mean, it's mid-March right now, it's not tourism season by any means, but what would you suggest for people that come to Twillingate in an off season to eat? Like, which places stay open? Genuine question. I think I saw Mary Brown's on the way in, but I can't remember for sure. And Robin's Donuts and places like that, you know, they're not related to tourism whatsoever. So I might end up going and just getting a sandwich or something from Robin's. But if you are familiar, if you know, could you kindly leave a comment and like suggest a place? And you know, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon right now. It's possible that 1 or 2 of the places that I went to that's closed, maybe they're closed for service, maybe they're only open for supper, I don't know. So if you have any information to share about what you can do in Twillingate if you're hungry, please drop a comment so that anybody that stumbles onto this can find out for themselves. Thanks. In Harbour Breton, you know, there was Ernie's where I got my fish and chips. There was a couple of other places that were open around as well. There was, you know, just a few options. It's not a huge town, so there's not a lot of options, but there was no trouble finding a place to eat while I was there. So, you know, just extra points for Harbour Breton to be a 12-month of the year town, right? And again, no offense to Twillingate, I don't mean anything bad by it, but I was really surprised to see that so many places that are, you know, kind of well-known, relatively well-known, are all seasonal with no real options in the winter months. So those little excursions to Galtes and Blorum involved, you know, kind of not scripted topics of conversation, but some ideas that I read up on and kind of prepared to create those videos. Didn't do anything like that for Harbour Breton because, as I said, I wasn't expecting much there. It was basically going to be the place where I laid my head after doing all the travels. I'm definitely going to be looking more into the town now for my next trip, so I can create one of those types of videos where I'm walking around kind of sharing information about the town. I created a video a couple of weeks ago about some of my favorite lighthouses around the island, and I didn't know about the one in Harbour Breton, and I apparently, in hindsight, I was very close to the lighthouse. I wasn't paying attention to the signage, and I never turned the corner to make my way towards it. So, you know, I know better now, and next time I'm there, I'll take the extra effort to get there and just see it, right? Maybe share some video about it. There's Sunny Cottage, which is clearly a merchant's old house, and it says somewhere that I read somewhere that it is still a residence. Someone maybe still lives there, but it's also a heritage center, so I need to clarify that. But I didn't know anything about it. Now, what I do know now is that if it is a merchant house, there's probably going to be tons of information about it because merchants had money, and the people with the money, they are the ones that control the history, the stories. So you're going to be able to find information about it if you want, and I'm not going to delve too deep into that because if the information's already out there, you can find it. I'm more interested in something else I didn't know anything about, the Hickey children. There was a landslide that claimed the lives of, I believe, 4 children, young children, from a single family whose house was at the base of this landslide. Kind of, you know, heart-wrenching. Don't know anything about it until I saw the landmark. So next time around, maybe I'll have more to say about it. That's the type of thing that I'd be most interested in. The fairy lady who used to take people from the middle of Harbour Breton to the other side before the causeway was built. These are the points of interest for me that I want to learn more about that I had no idea about. But I have the seeds of the knowledge planted because the town has markers around the town to indicate certain events. They've taken it upon themselves to let people like myself who are travelers learn a little bit more, and if you're eager to learn more, you can read up on things and find more information. So when I get back and have a better sort of foundational understanding of the town, I'm going to create another video because I'm definitely going back and I definitely want to share more information about this place because, as I said at the beginning, this may be my favorite place that I've ever experienced, ever visited in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. And as I always say in the videos, I'm not finished with my travels just because I hit A, B, or C place, but of the places that I've been to, pretty confident in saying that Harbour Breton is my favorite.